I'm a blood, but I love too, and I ain't the type, yeah, to judge too, Can I get a hug, boo? Damn, and I'm about my paper, Uncle Sam. It's nothing like somebody.
This is Baby Brown, producer, and I'm here at Atomic Studios in downtown Las Vegas. I mostly produce here at Atomic, but quite often I find myself engineering at suites and hotel rooms up and down the Las Vegas Strip. Certainly when artists come into town to play or to do a performance on the Strip or somewhere in town, they don't often have time to come to the studio, so they'll have engineers like me come out and bring a laptop, bring some headphones, and set up in their hotel room with a nice microphone, and that's how it has to be done sometimes. It's not always possible for me to be in this familiar space, so the elites are really making sense in situations like that. It's kind of like having the studio in the bag with you. It used to be I almost never mixed in headphones. But since someone convinced me to try the Mezes, I've been mixing a lot less in my speakers. It's been a long-held opinion you should never mix in headphones, but that is an opinion. And since the appearance of these very high-end planar magnetics, the playing field has been literally demolished. The industry moves fast. I'm seeing many other engineers adopting high-end headsets for critical mixing and mastering. Before I would work on monitors and check for panning afterwards, maybe imaging and general stereo width, mono-compatible low end. Now I'm doing it the other way around. I'm mixing in headphones for most of the time, especially with Atmos. And then I reference in the 714 array here in Atomic afterwards. I might go as far as to say that there are huge advantages to mixing in the elites. I think the fact that whenever you put them on, you're getting an absolute known quality response, something that you can learn, and then you can rinse and repeat it every single time. There's really no dancing around with these headphones. I just took the time to learn their sound once I had them, and it probably took me a few weeks, maybe even a month or two. But I get no nasty surprises. My workflow can vary depending on what I'm doing. I like to EQ all my headphones, and I like to tune them close to the Harman curve because I feel that's a very natural balance for mixing and for listening. But mainly for mixing. I tend to lift the high end a bit, and I tend to flatten out the bottom end more. But when I listen to the finished work, my mixes, I reference at that point with the factory tuning of the Mezes for realism and also for comfort of listening, and that's how most people are going to hear the work. These elites are thick and they're juicy, all right, but they're also very well designed. It's kind of like wearing a cloud. I've pulled 4-hour sessions in these without any issues, and I have no doubt that I could work for anything up to 8 hours. One of the things I love about the elites is their low impedance design. They're rated at 30 to 32 ohms, which is pretty unusual for a headphone that can crank out this level of source. And that means, honestly, you don't need an expensive headphone amp. They'll pretty much work on anything with a 3.5mm or 1/4" jack. Nothing fancy necessary, and they sound great everywhere. The Elite Aluminiums are a very honest and very pure sound. They do have their own character. It's kind of hard to describe. I think Meze didn't so much go the surgical route with these, but they did combine accuracy and purpose, which together seems to make something called feel. And that's what I want when I'm producing, and certainly when I'm composing. Back in the day, everyone used to extol the virtues of the ATHs, which were plastic closed-back headphones. Granted, they had a solid bass and bottom end to them, but there's really no comparison with the low end, and the breadth of the kick and sub you get in these is frankly phenomenal. It's extremely articulate. I think that urban and definitely house producers should think about factoring a pair of these into their studio budget, especially if they're on the road a lot. Once you've heard it, it's very difficult to unhear it. So yeah, you'll get spoiled very quickly. There's a lot of super cool stuff happening here at Atomic Studios over the summer, including a comprehensive Atmos upgrade, which we start this month. It's going to take a while. We have to pull out 12 speakers, which are getting replaced with a new set of coaxials, including ceilings and sub. We're going to be afforded an increased accuracy in the mix room, but I'm actually not tripping going without speakers for a week or two because the Mezes are so good for mixing. I'm referencing everything in binaural anyway, as far as Atmos is concerned. I'd go as far as to say they're probably a more accurate point of reference for Atmos than even the speakers in this tuned and measured space. There's just very few acoustic compromises they had to make with the headphones. When you look at a room, there's so many anomalies that can happen and they can change throughout the day. So to be honest, with the elites, I just can't seem to lose for winning.